Excuse me, just 1 second. Hello? Yeah, God? Okay. God called and said, "You're both wrong about ice." Let's quickly review what I covered in my last video. On the topic of both partisans are inaccurate and both partisans are right. First, Democrats. Democrats instinctively view ice from the lens of human identity and dignity, perceiving ICE enforcement as an act of dehumanization, state violence, and invalidation of personal stories. Prioritizing moral protection of identity over strict adherence to law, leading to many of their slogans like "no human is illegal" and a lot of calls to abolish ICE as a reflexive defense against perceived cruelty. Democrats often overlook broader systemic consequences, incentives, and the necessity of sovereignty. The other side of our multi-partisan coin is Republicans, who instinctively view ICE enforcement through the lens of rules, order, and national sovereignty, perceiving ICE as an essential safeguard of lawlessness and boundary integrity. Republicans essentially are prioritizing the moral preservation of social societal structure over individual narratives. This essentially leads them to statements like they broke the law and enforce the border. This is essentially a reflexive defense against chaos, while they often do downplay the immediate human suffering and the moral costs of enforcement itself. All of this is why Democrats and Republicans will never be able to play nice. They're too polarized. So polarized where most of the time they can't even talk to each other. We have both these partisans answering very different questions. Democrats are asking who is being harmed. Republicans are asking what happens if this is not enforced. The psyche of Democrats mirrored back to them is identity, while the psyche of Republicans mirrored back to them is authority. This leaves each side looking towards the other as cruel and or naive. Each partisan is protecting a different existential pillar. The real raw issue is, while both partisans are accurate to a smaller degree, when you zoom out, they are both inaccurate in the larger scale. So let's discuss some of the universal truths that each partisan is missing. On the subject of ICE, ICE actually shows and proves this missing principle. Principle asks, what level of enforcement is necessary? What level of harm is acceptable? What incentives are we creating? Where does responsibility lie? Is it upstream or is it downstream? How do we preserve borders and dignity? Now, neither partisan wants to sit with these essential principle questions because these questions require trade-offs. They require limits on compassion. They require limits on force. They also require shared accountability. The key triad here is identity without authority creates chaos, and authority without identity creates cruelty. When we take in universal principle and truths, higher spirituality actually integrates both. ICE is controversial because it does enforce society to admit that we need enforcement, mercy, limits, truth, all at once. Psychologically, this is going to be extremely difficult for either partisan to integrate fully and understand. That type of thinking is quite intolerable. So what we have is ICE making both partisans completely unhinged, because ICE threatens the Democratic's belief that care alone can organize society, and ICE also threatens the Republicans' belief that order alone is moral. So ICE proves both are incomplete. Ultimately, ICE is not a policy problem. ICE is a psychological mirror, revealing whether someone likes to organize reality through identity or authority. And it's extremely beneficial to the media to keep this wound open for all of us. But it's not beneficial for any of us.